Okay, we're live, Hunter.
Okay, my name is Hunter Morrison. I'm the planning consultant for the city of Youngstown. And we have a quorum of the members of the City Planning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals. And therefore, I wish to call the virtual meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals and City Planning Commission to order. This is Tuesday, November 24th, 2020 at 1:30. This meeting is being conducted on Zoom and is also being archived on YouTube. And so will be available for viewing post meeting. I would note that this is an official meeting that requires that the witnesses be sworn in. So as we call those cases, I will ask the applicants and witnesses and other interested parties who wish to speak on that case to be sworn in by Debbie, our court reporter. The first case on today's agenda is case number 20-15, a request by Daniel Baylog to 1, add an additional driveway that is not leading to an existing accessory structure, and 2, use gravel instead of required hard surface for the driveway. The property in question is located at 2205 Overlook Avenue in an RS 12 single-family residential zoning district. And we get the share screen here. Hopefully I will be able to call this up. All right, let's see here. This is the property. Can everybody see this? Rick, can you see it?
We cannot see it, Hunter.
Okay. And I've got to figure this out again. Why am I not getting this up? Oh.
We see your Adobe.
And it's in the Adobe Black.
If you need help, Hunter, I could bring it up.
Yeah, can you bring it up? It's in the Adobe Black, most of it. Adobe Pro.
1 second.
Okay. Okay.
This is it?
That's it, yep. Okay, so yeah, this is that's a site drawing. If we'll go down a little bit further, Rick, to okay, this is a property at the corner of Overlook. It's on Overlook. And the proposal again is to add an extra driveway. It's right across the street, I believe, from school. So, Mr. Baylog, can you tell us what your proposal is?
Yes, I answered.
Would you like me to swear him in first?
Oh, sorry. My error. Please, can you be sworn in?
Would you raise your right hand, please, to be sworn in? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Baylog, can you tell us what you intend to do?
Yes, I had a line of trees when I bought that house right there, going up that whole side of my house, and there was like a drop off because they were supposed to put a continuous street. I think it's Irene all the way through, and there was like a hillside lined with trees, and I cut all the trees down, and like there was basically like all my downspouts were running towards my neighbors and flooding her out. So I snaked my gutters and hooked them back up to the downspout drain that goes out to the street, cut the trees down, and like it was a muddy mess. So I just put gravel in there to like make it level and put like a landscaping hill. And I have a gravel driveway right there now. And obviously somebody called, I didn't know that you needed a permit. I thought that was more like a landscape thing. Thought you needed a permit for like a structure, you know, adding on to your house or a fence or, you know, whatever. But I take full accountability on that. But I just got a permit to fence my yard in, and I want to add a garage in the back. And I guess I went about this the wrong way. I want to eventually get a garage, because I know it says I have a driveway that doesn't lead to an existing structure. And
So this is a pull-off area on your existing driveway?
yeah, that's the other one that we have to talk about too. But I was talking about it on the left side of the house.
Okay.
But yeah, that's going to be a pull-off driveway there.
So this okay, that's the new driveway on the left side of the house.
Yeah, yes, sir.
And is that driveway is not going to a garage, it's just going?
It's going to the back of my house right now. I parked my trailer back there because I don't want no one stealing it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you want to use gravel on that driveway, the new driveway?
Yes, sir.
And then you have an addition to the existing driveway that's also proposed to be gravel in front of the.
There's gravel right now, but I'm going to pour concrete there.
Okay. So the request is for the new driveway on the left side of the house and to do it in gravel.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any? Is there anybody else in the audience that wishes to speak on this case? We've notified people within a reasonable distance of the house.
Yeah, my name is Shane Ayton. I'm next door at 2223.
Shane, excuse me, have you been sworn in?
Do you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Can you spell your name for me, please?
Shane, Ayton, Aten.
Thank you.
Mr. Ayton, please go ahead with your testimony.
Repeat that, please.
Please go ahead with your testimony.
Oh, I live next door at 2223. I'm on the side where the proposed concrete addition. Absolutely no issues with whatever Dan would like to do over there. He's been a neighbor here for 3 going on 4 years, and he's made such dramatic improvement of the property in general with tree removal and just unbelievable what's happened to the property. If anybody in the area has been familiar with this home prior to his taking over, can definitely see, you know, the improvements, but absolutely no issues. And, you know, even some of the other neighbors have commented on, wow, you know, he's done a nice job over there. So, you know, for me as a neighbor, it's great to have him there. And he's improving the, you know, appearance, making everybody look better. So he has my blessing.
That's very good. Is there anyone else who wants to speak on this matter? If not, are there any questions or comments from the members of the board?
Hunter.
Yes, Mr. Ray.
Yeah, I had a constituent contact me on the matter, so.
Have you been sworn in, Mike Ray?
I have not.
Okay, we'll be more efficient for the next case. Debbie, can you swear this guy in?
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Councilman Ray?
Yeah, I guess the constituent concern from the phone call was just regarding the fact that it already existed, but based on Mr. Baylog's testimony, it sounds like he's trying to remedy the situation and right what he is, putting that in before the cart before the horse. So I guess as long as it, applies with, the zoning requirements, I see no reason, not to move forward with it. And it sounds like his other neighbor is, in support of it. I would just say that from what he presented, as long, if his plans meet the requirements, it seems like he's, again, trying to correct what was done in the wrong order.
So Mr. Baylog, the gravel area adjacent to the existing driveway, that is there today, correct?
Yes.
But have you built the new proposed driveway yet?
I haven't concreted the one next to my driveway, the pull off section. No, there's gravel there because I removed a tree there, also a big oak tree, and I ground the stump. And so instead of planting grass, it's just going to get ripped out. I didn't know that I needed a permit. Like I said, that was my fault.
Okay.
So I put gravel there instead of landscaping it and getting the grass looking good just to be torn out again in a couple months later. So I got the gravel there, and I eventually plan on adding on a section of my driveway.
But the new driveway to the left of the house, that's not in yet, is that correct? Or is
The
it in?
gravel is, yes, sir.
Oh, it is, okay. So
Yeah.
So to Mr. Ray's point, you're correcting an existing condition. Okay.
Yes.
All right, are there other questions? Any questions from the members of the committee?
How long has the driveway been there?
Which one, sir?
The one you're asking for?
Probably about a year. Well, I moved in, and then about a year later, I cut the trees down. That's when it made the mess. So I just put a gravel driveway there. Well, I just added the gully in with gravel and landscaped it.
Hunter, may I ask a question or two?
Of course.
Thank you. Sir, this is Jeff Limbian from the Law Department. I certainly don't want to be an impediment to you being able to realize your vision. I just sort of want to appreciate the whole gravel thing. Can I ask a question about finances? Is it a temporary fix until you can do what you ultimately want to do, or is the plan to keep it gravel?
On which side?
Well, I guess wherever you're going to have gravel as a driveway, I have some concerns about that, but just from an aesthetics standpoint.
The pull off my main driveway is going to be concrete.
Okay.
The other driveway that's going to go to my garage in the backyard eventually after I build that structure will be concrete also, but that's probably like a year down the road if I'm allowed
Okay.
to do.
So the gravel is a temporary fix?
Well, for concrete, you need gravel underneath of it. So I would just form it up and pour the concrete after, obviously if I got approved for permits and stuff.
I appreciate that, sir. I was just wondering, I guess, just as one member of the board, the idea of having gravel driveways around the city is not the optimum. And I guess I just wanted to know what the future plans were. So your goal in a year or two is change it from gravel to cement.
Yes, after the garage structure is built, correct.
Thank you, sir.
So we will have to make note of that in the file and inspect appropriately when the time comes. Because what you're saying to us is that this is essentially a temporary condition.
Well, can I ask? Well, one point is one of the variances that he's requesting is to be allowed to use gravel. So if we grant this, then we're allowing him to keep the gravel.
That's correct.
There is no approval. There is no condition right now that he puts concrete in there. And the one question I had was why does he need a second driveway?
So, because I bought this property because it has one of the bigger yards. I've always envisioned putting a garage back there, and so I have my side yard that still hang out with the kids and stuff, and I want my garage back there, and I need a driveway to get to my garage, and my trailers and stuff my trailer back there, my 4-wheelers and stuff in my garage. That's
How big of a garage are you planning on building?
whatever the city, I think it's 24 by 24 or whatever, 20 by,
Well,
whatever they.
I mean, right now you already have a garage attached to the house. So I'm not sure of I don't have the zoning in front of me. I'm not sure what the zoning is, but I don't think that it's going to require a variance, I would imagine. Because you already have a 2-car garage attached to your house. A second one isn't normally allowed. There's only a certain amount of space you're allowed for accessory structures. And I don't know what that is off the top of my head, but just so you know, you're going to need to come back for a variance to build the garage.
Okay.
And
So
Mr.
you have a business there or something, or this is just for personal use?
No, that's the whole reason this whole thing started. When I moved in and started cutting the trees down, I eventually had neighbors coming up to me asking me, "Hey, how much to cut my tree?" I'm a Youngstown fireman, and I cut literally 30 trees off my property, and I liked it, and I started doing jobs for other people, and then I bought some equipment, parked it on my property. I got a phone call, so I got it all out. So at one time, maybe for a couple weeks, a month, I had some equipment here. Yes, I have my own business, but it is not ran out of my house.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Sasho, you note that if we grant this use of gravel, it's a permanent granting. It's not a conditional granting.
Well, that's the way it's worded, I guess. I mean, it says one of the variances requests is to use gravel instead of the required hard surface for driveways. That's what the variance is.
Is it your recommendation that you approve this as a temporary use for some period of time rather than a permanent use? Is that possible?
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we would have to, I would say, if we want it to be paved, we should tell them we want it to be paved at some point.
And I had another question. I don't know if I talked to you guys, but if I wanted to pave one, not the one, put blacktop on the other driveway, the long one that's going towards the back, or does it have to be concrete because the other one's concrete?
I don't think so. Chuck, is that? It's just a matter of aesthetics, it's hard surface though.
Okay.
I don't have enough knowledge of the zoning code to comment on that.
I think it would be better to do it in concrete aesthetically.
Okay.
Somebody want to make a motion to grant a conditional approval or time-limited approval for the use of gravel? 1 year or 2 years or something like that?
Through Chair.
Mr. Swires.
Hunter?
Yes, sir.
No, I just wanted to say if the additional driveway was right next to the one that he is going to have or is concreted, I think you couldn't do blacktop. You'd have to do the same kind of material. But that's on the other side of the house, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to bring that point up. That's it.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Mr. Mayor Brown?
If I could, I guess one of the things I would like to see if we ran a conditional variance for this, a timeline. Am I breaking up?
Yes.
You were, but you're okay now.
How am I doing now?
You're good, Mayor.
You're fine.
I like to see a time frame. I like to see a timeline on this. If we grant it, that if he says, hey, in 12 months, I'm going to have it done, and for the next 12 months, we know it's okay. But if we get to that point and some things change, I mean, things change all the time. He may say, I don't want to do the garage, or I want to do something else. I just like to get a timeline from him that he's comfortable with, that we could help him out on this situation for temporary, and then we could talk about the actual permanent fix and what that looks like. Because I was always under the impression that your material had to be light material to your driveway. You couldn't put a concrete driveway and then a blacktop driveway for an expansion, or expand your driveway with blacktop. It had to be light like material. And if that's changed, forgive me for not knowing to update it, but I thought that was the case.
Okay, thank you, sir. And I plan on using concrete anyways, but that's fine.
Sure. Yeah, just in direct response, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Brown.
Daniel, do you have a sense of your time frame of when you want to have this project complete? 1 year, 2 year? I just want to get a sense that if we want to make a rule, we don't want to put you under any constraints. If we give you a provisional use and we say 1 year, you say, no, Mayor, it's 2 years or 3 years. We just want to be, I want to be comfortable knowing that we're looking for that to happen in that time frame.
Okay, with the concrete completion and the garage, I would say no longer than 3 years, but the one next to my driveway, the addition to my driveway, I plan on getting that done in the springtime. So that could be less than a year.
So you'd be requesting a time limit for the driveway to the right of the house next to the garage for 1 year, and for the new driveway for 3 years. Is that correct? And both to be done in concrete?
Yes.
Okay.
I was gonna already do the addition to my one driveway, but I honestly did not know you needed a permit for that because I was already had it formed up and was ready to pour concrete, but thank God I didn't. I was ready, it was ready to go, formed up and ready to go. And that's when, I started getting notices in the mail and I didn't proceed with that.
Is there some member of the board that would wish to make a motion, conditional
Sure.
use?
I make a motion to grant a conditional use of gravel for a period not to exceed 3 years.
Second.
Who was the second? Mr. Brown? Okay.
Mayor Brown. Mayor
Brown is second.
To the chair.
Yes, Mr. Chashaw.
I just want to note that there's a second part to that to allow the existence of the driveway in the first place. Just to add an additional, if Ms. Attorney Limbian would like to revise that to add an additional driveway that is not leading to an existing structure.
Right. Well, the reference is to add an additional driveway not leading to an existing accessory structure. That's the driveway on the left of the house. Use gravel instead of required surface for driveways, which would be both the left of the house and the right of the house. And I think the motion would be to approve the additional driveway to use gravel instead of required hard surface for a period of not to exceed 3 years. At which time it will be replaced by concrete.
I'll second the amendment.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any further discussion on the matter? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Bailey, for coming in. The next case is case 2016. The applicant is David Strollo, requests a variance, one, to allow an existing parking lot with pervious material to be used for employee parking instead of the use of impervious material required for parking lots, and two, to allow the existing trash enclosure to remain without the requirements of an access opening. The property in question is located in an industrial green zone at 741 South Avenue. And Mr. Strollo, I see you're here, and others. First of all, those who wish to speak on case 2016 will need to be sworn in. So Debbie, would you swear in all those who wish to be speaking as witnesses on this case?
Would you raise your right hands, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Okay, who wishes to speak on behalf of this case? You're muted.
I didn't even hear anybody say I do for the swearing, but I assume they said
Okay,
it.
sorry, we muted.
I do.
Okay.
For a second there. Thank you. Greg Strollo and David Roos speaking on behalf of Mr. Washington, the client for this project. The subject property, for those of you that aren't aware, is, I'm going to call it directly east of the Ohio Edison office building on South Avenue, very near the on-ramp to the 680 loop. What we're asking for is pretty well cataloged in the written request, but David, who is the project architect, is going to explain it in greater detail. And I'm going to stick my head out of the picture here for a second.
All right, so I think the first item on the list was the pervious materials for parking, for the employee parking, which is in the back of the building. The way the print is shown now, you would turn up the side road there, is that Fairlawn?
Yeah,
Fountain Street, I mean. Fountain Street, and as you just get to the back of the building, there'll be an access drive to the back where there'd be employee parking in that area. Back there, there will be a small concrete area for a frost slab for an egress door required out that back, and a slab for, I think you noted it as an existing trash enclosure, but it would be a new trash enclosure. What's right now, we have facing Fountain Street for easy access of the trash truck. Part of the issue is that we have a retention pond going back there in that corner of the lot as well, that eats up a good portion of that northeast corner, not giving us a lot of flexibility for turning of a larger truck. So my request when I was dealing with Laura, was that we would like to use a pervious material behind the facility for employee parking, noting in the zoning code, I believe it's 104.4, section 6 under surfacing. I believe that's the section. Item B says that pervious or semi-pervious parking materials may be used if approved by the director. Laura informed me there was no director, so we needed to go to Board of Zoning Appeals for approval of using gravel in that area. As far as the trash enclosure, I've kind of explained why we want to have that facing Fountain. The grade there, Fountain is up about 4 or 5 feet from the point of where the trash enclosure would sit. We do intend on constructing it as outlined in the code with a masonry wall that's 6'8". The code requires 6 foot, and a gate on the front that is built of steel frame and wood pickets that completely close off the front gate of that trash enclosure.
Will you be able to see the trash enclosure from the street?
Yeah, I mean, it's behind the building, but no matter which way you orient it, you'll be able to see it from the street.
But there is a grade change going down from Fountain, is that correct?
Yeah, as you're coming down South Avenue, the lot that's marked, I think 763, looks like a big gravel earth dump right now. And then you turn on the Fountain, and from Fountain down to the north side of our property, which is the edge of the building, probably drops about 4 to 5 feet in grade, maybe 6 feet to where the trash enclosure would sit. You would never see the enclosure from South Avenue, only if you were on Fountain Street, which I don't know if there's any houses back there. I think there's one.
There's one house, yes. Do you intend to paint the trash receptacle the color of the building, which is a way of hiding it?
Well, the color of the building now is just gray masonry block.
Okay.
Gray masonry block. So we'll probably just construct it out of a colored CMU, split face or smooth face colored CMU with a limestone cap on it. And then the gate, like I said, would be vertical wood with maybe 1 inch spaces between them to allow for some movement. But
So you'll never see the trash container, you will see the trash enclosure.
Okay.
And
Who's
only if,
talking? Who's talking, please?
I'm sorry, this is Greg Strollo. I was also sworn in, but you didn't hear us say yes.
I just can't see who's talking.
Hi. The trash enclosure will be visible, and only if you're looking for it because it's so far below the street grade. Won't be visible from South Avenue, only from Fountain Street.
Okay, well, let's turn for a minute to the permeable surface, and we just had a very long conversation with a resident, the ward who was looking to use a gravel driveway. Can you explain to us why you can't pave your parking lot with a hard surface?
well, right now we're looking at the budget we have dealing with the project that's been allocated for this site. So we're up against some budget constraints right now. We're a little over. We're looking for some VE options. 2, the code does allow for a pervious material. It just needs approved by a director. So, I mean, it's in the code that it could be used. Right now, this time of year, we want to get that parking into place. We're not going to be able to asphalt it as it is right now, even if it was in the budget. So with this exception in the code, we're asking to use it as a gravel lot since it's at the rear of the building and not out front, only used by employees.
Do you have paving problems on a permeable surface? I mean, plowing problems in the winter? Or you can easily plow it?
I don't know how the owner's planning on plowing that. I'm sure he'll be able to move it. He has plenty of earth to the west and to the east of the drive lane to move snow off the gravel area. So the parking for the employees basically is perpendicular parking to the drive lane. It comes right off the drive lane.
Any questions or comments from members? First of all, is there anybody else in the audience that wishes to speak on this case? If not, are there any questions or comments from members of the board?
Mr. Morrison, I do have one. You guys have the drawings that we're sending in front of you that actually show a little more detail than that image that was on the.
Rick, those drawings are on the other file. We didn't merge the two.
I mean, we're kind of talking about a parking area, but you really can't see it. It might
That's the one, yeah. That's the plan, right? Is that the plan, correct?
Yes, sir. That would show what our intent is.
And customer parking, are there customers that come to this building?
This is basically a processing facility for medical marijuana products. Anybody that would come here, maybe one person to talk about, a purchasing thing. We do have 2 spots off of South Avenue at the front of the building. For customers if needed.
Paved parking.
And those are paid parking spots. But really, they don't have a clientele that visits this building on a daily basis, regular basis.
Okay. Well, we see the retention pond and the dumpster enclosure and the lot. So your issue is a budgetary issue as it was in the last case. Is there a time in which your client would feel that they can afford to pave over the lot properly?
Speaking for Mr. Washington, this is Greg Strollo again. He has indicated that in the future, if his business grows, he is not averse to considering paving the lot. He didn't make that commitment to us, but he asked that we seek this variance for now. He's reconditioning about half of this 13,000 square foot building. It was suggested to us that if the second half fills, he'll make additional improvements, and I can't promise, but that was his implication, was that he'd be investing additional monies as they were warranted by the business level that he achieved.
Well, we just granted a conditional use of gravel for a period of 3 years to Mr. Baylog in the prior case. Do you have a sense of how long a conditional use would apply here, if the board so chose?
I would imagine that Mr. Washington would accept that if that were part of the condition.
Are there questions or comments from the members of the board?
To the chair.
Mr. Sasho.
Yes. Hi, guys. David. David, has Kadar seen this yet? Have you guys submitted for this stormwater yet?
Yeah, Kadar has these plans.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a couple questions, but I'll get with him and you later. It has nothing to do with the variance request, though.
The area where we're asking for this variance is really, if you don't have a need to go back there, I can't imagine anyone will ever see this. Not that that's a reason for anything, but this is a nearly abandoned side street, and we're trying to sort of improve the overall quality of the environment, but it'll be a vast improvement over the existing conditions, which is overgrown and unkempt.
Oh, that appears to be an abandoned light industrial building right now. But in the interest of consistency, perhaps the board would consider a conditional use of permeable surfacing on your parking lot for a period of not to exceed 3 years.
This is Jeff Lemmy. I don't want to hog the floor all the time with motion making, but just to expedite things, I will make that motion to allow the variance for a pervious existing parking lot for 3 years.
Mayor Tito Brown, second. Oh, Eric, go ahead.
So it's been moved and seconded to permit that. We note that the actual case also includes allowing an existing trash enclosure to remain without the required access opening. So that's the second part of that. Mr. Limbean, would you amend your motion to include approval of the trash receptacle?
Mr.
I do,
Morris,
sir.
I want to correct that because it's not an existing trash enclosure. It will. I know the order states that, but it will be constructed with new integrated colored masonry and a cap and a enclosed gate, full screened gate.
How should the motion?
And how should that motion read then?
It's really about the orientation of the dumpster, and according to the zoning code right now, it states that no refuge facility shall face a neighbor or street.
We don't know how to meet that because eventually you're always facing a street or a neighbor. That's kind of tough language to adhere to, but what we've done is made it as concealed as is possible under the conditions that we have.
Let me suggest this. So it looks like we're doing a little rewriting here, but the motion would be to allow the existing parking lot with pervious surface to be used for employee parking for a period of 3 years. I'm sorry. Let's read it again. Allow the existing parking lot with pervious material to be used for employee parking to remain instead of impervious to remain for a period of 3 years instead of a impervious surface required by required for parking lots, and to allow the trash enclosure to be oriented towards Fruit Street.
Fountain Street.
It's in Fountain Street. Fountain Street. Okay.
Yep, that's what I said.
I'm just trying to, I'm practicing law without a license, Attorney Libyan, so I have to be corrected here.
No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so we're allowing the use of the gravel for 3 years, and allowing the trash enclosure to be oriented to Fountain Street. Okay, that's the motion. Mayor Brown, did you agree to second that?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the amended motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We move now to the City Planning Commission and reference number 2420. This is a request by Thompson Enterprises to change the zone classification of Youngstown City Lot 35026 from an RS 7.2 single family residential to an MUI mixed use industrial. This property is located at 3726 Erie Street. Would all those who seek to testify on this case 24-20 please be sworn in by our court reporter.
Would you raise your right hands, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I can't hear anybody.
I assume Mr. Thompson.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And I'm here. I'm Attorney Johnston on behalf of Thompson Enterprises as well.
Okay, so we have, who wishes to speak first then?
I can go first. Obviously, this is an application just for rezoning youth intensive services, which is the campus there right now. It's essentially, as you can see, it's kind of taken over a little bit of that corner. And what we're seeking right now is to rezone that lot just to add in a new exit driveway to the campus.
And what exactly goes on in this building?
Youth intensive services provide services for youth that are in need of mental health services. A lot of them are placed there from the juvenile courts.
And so this gives you a second means of egress onto Erie Street. Is that what's involved?
Yes.
Are we paving this?
I believe that we are it's going to be asphalt.
Okay. So maybe that phase of our meeting's over. Mr. Thompson, do you wish to speak on this case as well?
No, Jackie said everything correctly.
Okay. This is a drawing showing the with Midlothian to the left and Erie to the bottom, the building and the additional expansion area. So you're proposing it for a driveway and for parking?
That's correct.
Through the chair, Hunter, may I ask something?
Yes, please.
Council, this is, if memory serves me, phase 2 of something we've already approved, correct? Haven't we done some work with you on this? And this was always in the plan to expand and allow for easier ingress and egress?
That's correct. We were here to, again, it was for a zoning change. I think maybe that was a year ago about. And at that time, I know the commission wanted to see kind of like an overview of this site for the entire campus, which is why we provided it here, just to give a better idea of kind of where everything is. And then this was the final portion that we wanted to add to it, which was the new exit driveway.
Now, it appears to Mr. Johnson, appears from the drawings that the parking extends in front of the setback line on Erie Street. Is that correct? It's more than a driveway. It's actually a parking lot in the
Yes,
in the
yes,
front
and
yard
parking,
area.
driveway and some parking with that as well.
I'm not sure we flagged that. Mr. Sasha, do you think we have an issue there with the parking in the setback area? I mean, that may be, I don't have the code in front of me either.
I think it's been my understanding that the parking was not allowed in the setback area, but
I would concur. So I think that's.
But again, I don't know that for sure. So.
Well, we didn't pick that up on the adjudication, and that would require a variance, I think. So what we're talking about here is a change in the use from a residential use to a mixed-use industrial use, not necessarily the design, which poses some zoning issues. So if the board wishes to approve the use, I believe that the applicant should, if they're going to pursue the parking in the setback line, would need to anticipate coming back to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a variance or to eliminate that parking and simply have a driveway. I don't know if that's acceptable, but that is a challenge.
Mr. Chairman?
Mayor Brown?
I guess what I like to hear, or for us to really dissect, is what's first. You know, what they're asking for, they need to have that, and then we need to address the other issue at a different time, or do we address the parking and the setback first before we go any further with the new use? I wonder which one's first. Can we do what they're asking now today, and then we come back and address the setback, parking in the setback, or which one comes first?
I think you'd want to get the zoning correct before you went and drilled down on the building, on the development plan.
Okay.
So it would seem to me that other than the parking in the setback, there aren't any zoning issues that would preclude you from passing on changing the zoning of the lot in question. But before they build the driveway, you either have to modify that plan to get rid of the parking in the setback, or get a variance. So I would say you could take action on the zoning change today with the understanding they're going to have to come back one more time.
Through the chair,
Yes,
I guess I would ask Ms. Johnson or Mr. Thompson if were these things they knew already, and are they prepared to address those with us now, or would they just prefer for the zoning to come back and address this body at a later time?
Well, I know I wasn't aware that a variance would be required for the parking, but I would like to move forward with the change of the zoning, at least right now, and then we can look at the plans and see if we will need to request a variance, and then come in again for that.
We'd be glad to work with you and Mr. Thompson on the site plan issues.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Mayor?
I offer a motion to grant a variance, or actually a zoning classification change for lot 30526 from a RIS 7.2 single family to MU, I believe that's mixed use institutional use.
That's correct. Been moved by Mayor Brown. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A second.
Second by John Swire. Second by Marguerite.
Can you not hear me? Yes. I didn't know if you could hear me.
I hear you. We hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Good, thank you. So moved by Mayor Brown, seconded by Margaret Douglas. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you in the future with the site plan.
Thank you.
The next item is again, Planning Commission reference number 2520, a request by the Ursuline Center to change the zone classification of Youngstown City Lot 31465 from an RS 7.2 single family residential to an RT 5.51 and 2 family residential. The property is located at 369 Lucius. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this matter needs to be sworn in?
I am.
Mr. Wakefield, anybody?
Raise your right hand, please. Would you raise your right hand, please? I don't know if you are or not.
Mr. Wakefield? There you go.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wakefield, can you tell us what's going on?
Hunter, before
Yes.
you proceed, this is Jeff Limbian. Full disclosure, I'm on the board, so I would think it would be best if I recuse myself in this matter.
So noted, Mr. Limbian.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The Ursuline Center is proposing to use this property for families experiencing housing crisis that are served by Ursuline Ministries. We have received some grant funding to convert one space within this home into a bedroom space, a separate bedroom space. It's intended right now to be utilized for purposes of quarantine because of the COVID crisis. So if we have individuals in need of a quarantine space, we would have a location that was safe for them to be placed. But obviously, that would allow us then to potentially use this for two families rather than just the single family use that it's currently zoned for.
Okay. Now you own, does Ursuline Center also own the property to the east?
We own, yes, the Ursuline Center owns 365 East Lucius, as well as 3306 South Avenue, 3314 South Avenue, 3318 South Avenue, and 3332 South Avenue.
Okay. The reason I asked is what this looks like is a spot zone, which we try not to single properties out. Speaking as a planner, it would be easier to look at the whole thing as here's our plan for our holdings on Lucius and South, since you have multiple holdings, and maybe zone it as some form of an institutional use. This may be for a later discussion, but it looks like it would benefit from a sort of a small master plan of what the center intends for the whole area. But that's just me speaking as a planner, likes all the pieces to fit together. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this case?
Hunter, I'm not a voting member, but I just want to disclose that I'm on the board as well as the director of the department.
Anyone else who wants to speak on this case?
Mr. Chairman?
Mayor Brown.
I am not a member of the board. I just wanted to clarify that.
Good, we'll keep our quorum then, huh?
Yeah. I just want to make sure you know we have a quorum. I think in everything that we're dealing with in this world and this nation, and just I always talk about partners, and I think this is a great opportunity for us to have partners that will help our people. I think at the end of the day, it's about our people, and for whatever we can do as this board to make sure that we have opportunities to help people. I think this goes right in the right direction where we're going as a city. So I just wanted to put that statement out there, and I want to thank the Ursuline Sisters for all they do. And if there's nothing else or no objections, I will make a motion to grant the request for the I think it's a zone change for is it industrial and
It's,
what's the? I don't have my number in front of me.
It's going, Mayor, it's going from a single family to 1 and 2 family residential. So it's really fairly modest change.
My motion is to go from a single family to 1 and 2 a multifamily use.
As
in
is
that location.
as is noted in the
as requested.
As requested, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So a
I'll
second.
Grant the as the request is granted.
I'll
Second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the matter? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Mr. Wakefield, to the mayor's point, we're looking for partners. It looks like the sisters have created a sort of a complex there. And while this deals with one specific issue, it may be of benefit for us to work together on sort of how's the whole corner fit. What are the longer term plans? It's an important corner on South Avenue.
Thank you. Thank you.
To relay that back, we'd be glad to work with you on a sort of a small area plan.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. And thank you, everybody. We appreciate it.
Okay. Very good. Let's turn to the next item on the agenda, which is case reference 2620. And I'm actually going to take the 2 cases that are closely related. Case 2620, reference number 2620, and reference number 2720. And there's a little bit of confusion on the addresses, so let me clarify this. This is 2620 is a request by Priscilla Jackson to change the zone classification of City Lot 36131 from a RS 7.2 single family residential to a mixed use commercial or community property. This little property is located, it is a vacant lot located at Powers Way. It's currently owned by the Mahoning County Land Utilization Corporation, the Land Bank, and there's a letter in the file authorizing Ms. Jackson to proceed to this hearing. Adjoining that vacant lot is reference number 2720, request by Priscilla Jackson to change the zone classification of city lot number 36131 from an RS 7.2 single family residential to mixed use community use. This property is located at 3662 Loveland. They both have the same city lot number, though Powers Way has an SECS behind it, or section S behind it, suggesting that at one point in time these 2 lots were part of a larger holding, but they are 2 separate lots. So, but they're owned by the same individual and the same case. Now, we do research cases to see if applicants are up to date on their taxes, and it appears that the taxes on the 3662 Loveland are several years in arrears. So the board may want to consider action or delaying action until that matter is addressed. Are there, Ms. Jackson and anyone else who wishes to speak on this matter can be sworn in by our court reporter.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You're muted.
You're muted. Thank you. Ms. Jackson?
Yes.
We're going to show this is the vacant lot in question. That's the property on Powers Way, and the property immediately to the south is 3662, and it's across the street from Buckeye Park. Ms. Jackson?
Yes, sir.
What can you tell us about your proposal and why you're before the board today?
I would like to get the change. Right now, we currently are a process center where we process meals for schools and daycares. And we also do mobile meals for United Healthcare, Care Source, Medicare, and Medicaid. We only do consumers through, like if you do a contract, that's how we have our consumers and our clientele. No one come in, no one really come out. We're more of a process center. We have our license through the Department of Health. We have our license through the Agriculture, Food and Safety, and we also have our meat inspector license where the meat inspector come in and inspect our facility while we put processing the meals. I asked to get a change because right now it's currently still under residential, and the vacant lot, I would like to place a bin for more storage, a storage bin on a property. And before I can purchase the property from the land bank, it has to be changed to commercial.
Okay. This is, I believe this is in Ward 7, right?
Correct.
I don't know if Councilman Adam Zach is still on the line. Councilwoman, are you familiar with this case and have comments on it?
Yes, I do. I actually have a couple questions, but I think one is actually for the committee. You mentioned that both properties are currently marked as residential. I think is it the one already mixed use community or no?
No, they're both single family currently.
Okay, and we're applying to change both of them then to the mixed use community?
That's correct. That's the request.
Okay. I wanted to say, I'm not sure if the committee received it. I did get an email from one of our residents that had concern and tried to reach out to the city to get clarification on this matter as to what was going to be occurring. And they were concerned that some of our current zoning regulations are not being enforced, and she just had a grievance on that. So I did want to state that for the record, but I believe she did email it to the city. I would like to say that I believe where this property is located, other than it would be towards the back of the additional property that's being purchased from the land bank, there's a house there, but across the street, it's a park. Like there's not a lot of residents in the area. And the only grievance that I received was the one from the email that I received from the resident. I would be in support of changing the zoning classification based on that there's already similar business already going on. And I don't see that it would be much of a hindrance.
Very good. Are there any other questions or comments? Ms. Johnson, or Jackson, did you want to speak?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Mayor Brown?
Through the chair.
Mr.
I guess I heard something about taxes, delinquent taxes, or is the applicant the owner of the property that taxes are delinquent?
I believe the property that we our initial examination suggests that 3662 Loveland is several years in arrears in property, and I believe it is owned by Ms. Jackson. There's probably further research on that, but that's the records that we had access to in our research.
I guess in direct response, I would ask Ms. Jackson if she could clarify if that if we have is not accurate or needs to be updated.
I can't understand you, Mayor. There was some feedback or something.
Okay. Can we, in direct response, can we find out if Ms. Jackson could clarify if that property is in arrearage, if it's delinquent, and or if our information is wrong?
Jackson, are you up to date on your real estate taxes?
Yes, we are on a payment plan with the property taxes. We current on a payment plan.
Okay.
It's current.
Okay. Any further comments or questions? If not,
I'm sorry, can I make a statement?
Yes.
Before I was able to fill out the application with the land bank, any property that was in my name had to be on a tax plan, payment plan, and he already made sure that the property was on a payment plan before I could proceed.
Very good. So that being said, is there a motion? Anyone want to make a motion on these? I take them together, reference 2620 and 2720. Any of the members wish to make a motion? Yes, sir.
Chair. I'd like to make a motion that item 26-20, that we recommend approval of the zone change to city council.
Second, Brown.
So moved and seconded to approve reference number 26-20. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Do you want to make a motion on 2720?
Honor through the chair.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that item referring to item 27-20 that we recommend approval of the zone change to city council.
Second, Brown.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
carries. Okay. The next case, 2820, was removed from the agenda to be discussed at a later date or time. The final case for today is case 2920 from Myra Caldern for the approval of a conditional use permit for non-domesticated animals, chickens, to be raised as an accessory to residential use. This property is located at 1430 Liberty Road in an RS 7.2 single family district.
Excuse me, Mr. Morrison. Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
This is, excuse me, Mr. Morrison. I hate to interrupt your hearing. My name is Mark Utentag. I am the attorney for Four Corners LLC. And neither I nor my client received any notice that the 2820 was being removed from the docket. And I'm just kind of curious about that.
You should have been contacted last week by our economic development director.
I received the paperwork and the notices to that this hearing was going forward.
I'm here for the same, and I received no information either.
You did receive information?
He said he did not. Yeah, you should have both been contacted by economic development director last week. Our law department decided to pull this and to have you work through our economic development director to move forward, so that you would not have to have the delay of going through this committee and then going through council.
Okay. Just for my information, my notes, because I don't have it in front of me, would you mind referencing who the economic development director is?
Sharon Woodbury, and I'll email you with the information, and I'll copy Sharon in on the email.
Okay.
Okay, and we apologize for the
no
inconvenience. Yeah.
I used to do zoning many years ago.
This was pulled a week ago. Yeah.
It's nice to hear this. But okay, thank you very much. And I'm
Okay.
sorry to interrupt the case, the following case.
No, no problem. Thank you.
Have a good day, all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we will return to the case reference 2920, dealing with non-domesticated animals. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this case? And if so, we need to have you sworn in. Ms. Calderon?
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I swear.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Calderon, can you tell us what's the case, what you intend to do?
Well, I grew up with chickens, and we all had family had chickens, and we like the eggs, and we made soups and rice with the chickens. Plus, I'm by myself, and it is kind of relaxing taking care of the chickens. And I got kids that come to the house and help me with the chickens and teaching how to, because I grew up with all kinds of animals, and I like animals.
So tell us a little, you have them in an enclosure?
A what?
You have a chicken coop?
Yes.
And
But I'm planning to have a bigger one. I have a little one. I'm planning to have a bigger one.
okay. Is there anything else you would like to say about how many chickens do you have?
I don't have nothing right now.
Okay. So this is, you're planning to have chickens, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you need to work with our people to make sure the enclosure is the right size and placed in the right location on the property.
They came and took pictures.
Okay. The health department?
Yes.
Okay. So if you work, assuming the board would approve this, if you work closely with them, everything, you'll be in accordance with the law. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak on this case? Sandra? Oh, you're muted. Unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself.
Me?
Sandra, no.
Oh.
The other person who wanted to speak.
Can still show them, right, Mayor?
I'm glad you have an assistant.
Yeah.
Sandra, what is your full name?
Sandra Kelly.
Sandra Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Kelly, what is your testimony?
I oppose to having chickens. Chickens draw rats, and we had enough raccoons and possums and squirrels and deers, and we don't need no rats and chickens in the mix.
And Ms. Kelly, where do you live?
Right behind her. Her backyard runs into my backyard.
Okay. Is that your property at 2114 Bott Street?
Yes.
Okay.
And my daughter lives at 2428, and she doesn't approve either.
Okay. So 2420 is right next door. Okay. So are there questions and comments from members of the board or the commission?
Through the chair.
Mr. Mayor?
I guess I have a question, and I heard Mrs. Calderon mention that our health department has gone out there and taken pictures. However, in my packet, I didn't see any information or letter from health department deeming it okay or approving of it. And I don't know if that's something that happens once you get the coop and the chickens, or it's before. But typically, I thought I would remember, and maybe the rest of the board can help me if that letter is nothing we typically get. But I thought we would get a letter from the health department because there are health issues with this. Just to start the conversation.
Mr. Mayor, I know we have received those, but often those are for pre-existing. There are a couple of cases that were up several months ago, chickens and ducks, and the health department had inspected it, but it was an existing condition. In this case, it sounds like Ms. Calderon is coming with the intention of putting this up. So, but it would be helpful perhaps to get the health department to weigh in.
But a direct response, I guess, what I like to see is if even we granted it, that she would have a kind of a blueprint of what is expected of her. But we do have an objection here, so I think we're at a different point. I guess my question was: we have one objection. Is there anybody else other than Mrs. Calderon who's here for supporting this?
You're not getting it.
Here? Oh. Who's speaking?
Here.
Yep. Yes.
Yes. It's Mrs. Kelly. I think that's her assistant is asking her, can we hear?
Oh, okay.
Now they can't. Yes, she's good now.
Okay. Mayor, I don't believe there's anyone else in the audience that wants to speak on this. I may be wrong, but I don't think so.
To the chair.
Ms. Douglas.
Yes. The concern that I have, and I know in our community over here on the east side, a lot of times the structure in which the chickens are held in is incorrect. So I think it's a little premature for her coming before us at this time without us knowing what type of structure she's going to have these chickens in. And I think it's just too soon to even know if she's going to have everything she needs for these chickens and how many chickens she's going to have, if she's going to have the proper structure, and what type of fencing, if she's going to have the proper containers for the waste, so to speak. So I just think that we might need to delay this until we know if she has the understanding of what all this entails to even have the chickens.
Ms. Douglas, you could move to table the matter, which would also perhaps give the opportunity for more consultation with the health department to make sure that if it is approved, it meets all the requirements.
Yes, because we had this same situation in our community, and they had the wrong structure, and they had the chickens, and the health department did come, and they had to remove the chickens and break down the structure. So I move, if I can, I would like to make that motion to table this until the health department can discuss this and give her the proper paperwork so that she has an understanding of what all she needs.
Been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Swires, it's moved in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Ms. Calderon, do you understand what the board has done? It's tabled the matter for a future meeting with the request that you come back with more details about how you intend to enclose the chickens, how many chickens, greater details, and hopefully to address any of the neighbors' concerns. I know you don't want to attract vermin, rats and the like, and the neighbors don't, and the city won't permit it. So that's why the health department has to weigh in on this to make sure that this does not create a nuisance for yourself or for anybody else. But it remains to you to talk with those folks and then come back and we'll be glad to work with you again on trying to resolve these matters. But we would reschedule it for the January meeting unless you advise otherwise. We could continue tabling it until another date until these issues are resolved.
Hunter?
Yes.
If I may, thank you. If I may state for the record, I just wanted to state and let people make people aware that chickens do not cause rats and raccoons. We have chickens not in the city limits, but outside of the city limits, and it's the care and the housing of the chickens that could potentially bring that. But if they're properly housed and taken care of, they do not bring on, rats or raccoons or other vermin. So I just wanted to get that on the record.
That's an important point. I know this issue was debated heavily when the code itself was being adopted. I've had several conversations with former Director Davignon about the challenge of livestock. But I think there's ample protection if everything is done according to code. Ms. Calderon, do you understand where we are? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I understand where you are, and I understand that I have to have a right coat for the chickens. I understand I have to have the fence, and I understand that we have to clean it all the time to have clean, and the food have to be away in the proper place so I don't get rats or that. I understand everything of that. I understand it, and yes, you can send somebody to get the pictures again so they know that everything is right and proper the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Through the chair.
Mr. Swires.
I think an important thing is how many of these chickens are she going to have and what other, animals and stuff like that. I think that's important when she goes and gets all the documentation she needs, that should be in there. I mean, is she going to have a dozen of them or 2 dozen?
Ms. Calderon, do you have, what's your intent?
Yes, I know I only can have 8 chickens and no rooster. I know that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this is all very helpful. So if you could get with the health department and make sure that you come back with some plans, we'd certainly consider it further, and hopefully we'll be able to address the concerns of your neighbors by so doing. I believe that's the last item on the agenda. We moved in second, it's been tabled. So that's the last item on our agenda. Director Postoli, did you have anything you wanted to add?
We have a discussion on the agenda.
That's okay.
For the Trex application that was submitted at the last meeting last month. There's some information that we found out about 2 days later that I'm going to ask Attorney Limbian to address the committee.
Okay, so the cases are done, but we now have the discussion section on reference 2320, the request from Terrell Edward Tomlin to seek permission to transfer a Trex liquor permit from outside the city of Youngstown to inside the city of Youngstown. This applicant must receive the endorsement of the city. This is located at 3305 to 3309 South Avenue. Not too far from the Lucius property we just looked at, I think.
Thank you. Yes, through the chair, this is Jeff from the law department. I just wanted the committee to know what happened subsequent to our meeting. We were gathering information about the participants, and then the meeting occurred, and we really didn't have full information, but we thought there was enough information to go forward, and that's why, if you'll recall, I made a motion with some reservation that this was only a piece of the process, not the entire process. And so the matter was forward to council for, at least for review or their consideration if they chose to. I've subsequently sent an email to Councilwoman Adamczak to allow her to know that the participant who testified before us at the last meeting has in fact been indicted federally on wire fraud charges and conspiracy to commit wire fraud in quite an elaborate scheme if you read the indictment. As the federal prosecutor is quick to point out in their news release, all defendants are presumed innocent. And of course, this gentleman is presumed innocent as well. But it's damning enough of information that it gives the city pause, at least the law department pause in moving forward with approving the Trex application. As I understand it, either the mayor or the law director can send notification to the Department of Liquor Control that the city is not in favor of moving further. I just wanted the committee to know what was happening in the event that it's read somewhere else, that if you're wondering why a matter was passed through this committee with the expectation that things were moving in a positive vein, it's highly unlikely that this matter will continue with the city's approval going forward. Be happy to entertain any questions.
Are there any questions for Attorney Limbian? Okay. So basically, this is on hold, as you said.
Yes, sir. We're poised to make a decision. We'll be meeting with the mayor and making a decision, because I think the state will need to know sooner rather than later what the city's position is on this.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the members of the board?
I approve of that. I think that's the right action to take at this time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Douglas.
No, I agree.
Okay. Well, that being said, I think this we come to the end of our meeting. If there are no other matters before the House, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.